Welcome back to On the Light, a podcast dedicated to illuminating the profound teachings and legacy of Yogacharya BKS Iyengar. I'm your host, Susan Johnson. In this episode, Lee starts out by posing the notion that just because we call something yoga doesn't mean it is yoga. Prashantji addresses this and points out that there are two things. He calls one unyoga and the other non-yoga. Listen to hear the difference. He further goes on to explain that yoga must be learned from life conditions and it should be for life conditions. You will also hear Prashant address my question about the teacher's responsibility in preparing the students for the essential teachings of yoga. Please enjoy this episode of On the Light. Hi, Prashant.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Namaskar.
Thank you for joining
Namaskar.
us.
I saw your message. WhatsApp message.
Yes. And it was about this, this part that you used to talk to us about, and not necessarily for today, but anytime that you want to talk about it, that idea that just because you call something yoga does not mean that it's yoga, that for it to actually be yoga, it has to be in agreement, with the tenets and the texts and the traditions and such.
Yeah. Recently I was saying this. If you are teaching yoga, figure out, do you need Patanjali in your teaching of yoga? Is Patanjali has any reference, any context? Or do you need any sage or any sagacious person? Do you need any philosopher to teach the yoga that you are teaching? If you feel that that's not necessary, it can be dispensed with. Patanjali is only needed for prayers. So chant the prayers and curtains down on Patanjali thereafter. So, because yoga is in our times becoming physical culture or a pathy, remedy. Why do we need Patanjali? How can we claim the Patanjali is expounder of our yoga when he has no place in our teachings? What do we teach? What is referred to while we are teaching? We refer to body, we refer to body anatomy, we refer to the body conditions, body problems, body maladies, or mind, psychological mind. Why do we need Patanjali? So we must interrogate ourselves or have a scrutiny. Do I need Patanjali yoga, classical yoga, or the yoga of the lore? If that is not needed, and we can be just dispensing with all those values and postulations, then it won't be yoga. So it is possible that what we teach or what we practice is non-yogic or unyogic. If it is non-yogic, no, not a much problem, not a big problem that you are practicing, which is non-yoga under the pretext of yoga, but which is unyogic, then we need to take some steps there. And therefore, I am stressing on getting educated about yoga, what is really yoga, and not go by what you get as yoga in the world. Today, what you get as yoga, people come and teach you, they offer you, but is that really yoga? So at some stage, it must be investigated, or the teachers themselves should interrogate themselves or scrutinize themselves. Yes, it's an interesting topic. Because yoga in Patanjali system where does it come? Why does it come? It comes for chitta. And what we are addressing is body, or what we are addressing is mind. Psychological mind, lifetime mind. We do not try to address that eternal mind, we try to address the lifetime mind. If that is construed as yoga, then it is not proper. If that is included, nothing wrong. If you include what is taught as yoga, there is nothing wrong. But if you think that is yoga, then there is a problem.
Mm.
So, uh, this is the problem I'm facing recently. Since I embarked upon education, I am not teaching classes now. I am trying to give education in yoga, about yoga. So even when I conduct my 4 or 5 classes per week, I'm not really teaching. I'm trying to educate. And in the process, many of the teachers who think that they are only teachers of yoga, they are hurt. They are intimidated. They are not happy with me. But those who are students of yoga have no problem. But if you are a teacher and you think you are a teacher, then you have a problem. Say, for instance, suppose in institute, I am teaching the class, and one of the teachers of the institute is in the class. All people know that this person is a teacher. And then that person has a problem. If doesn't become humble to say that while I'm in a class, I am not a teacher, I'm a student. But this doesn't happen to professional teachers. If everyone, 100% people recognize you are a teacher and now you are in a class, then my teachings are quite offending, because I am not teaching anything to guide the teachers how they should teach. I am not doing anything like that. I am trying to teach the subject as it is. So you must be students of yoga if you are in the class that I teach, which is not a class in the popular sense of the term. But these teachers have a problem. They think that I am critical about them, because in what I teach, they know that they don't teach anything on the same lines. And therefore, they feel offended, and they feel that I'm intimidating. So if you are purely a student of yoga, then you might like my teachings or may not like my teachings. It is possible. But if you come as a teacher and then try to assess me, then even if you like or if you don't like, that is not a proper thing. Many people come and teachers come and do my classes because they want to pick up something to teach subsequently. So I have told them, what I teach is not meant for you to immediately start teaching or imparting. It is for you to practice, and it should get into your system, and then it will be organically coming in your own language, in your own diction. Otherwise, it's like puppet. You might by heart something of what I say, and that's not the way to be teaching. You have to practice, you have to inculcate practice, and then it will come spontaneously and naturally. So the point is, I am last 53 years, I have not done anything to turn out teachers or help teachers or assist teachers or feed teachers. I am not feeding the teachers. I am not teaching them. I am just trying to teach the subject. Because the fact of the matter is, I am not a teacher of yoga. By default, I am a teacher. I am actually a student of the subject. I am a student of the subject, and I will be trying, experimenting, discovering, exploring, observing, etc. And therefore, I'm not a teacher. So if you observe something, you cannot become a teacher of that subject. If you are experimenting with something, you cannot become a teacher of that subject. Teaching is totally different. I have never been teacher in this field for all these, whatever years I have been so-called teaching. People call me that I teach. People think I am teaching. I am not a teacher. I am a student of yoga. And therefore, there are some who attend my classes for last 45 years and more. They are not trying to become teachers of the subject. They just want to learn from me and get to know about yoga. I am trying to teach yoga in an educative channel and not trying to turn out teachers. I'm not trying to turn out a legacy. So the point is, what is happening rampantly, it is that what is taught uh, as yoga is far away from Patanjali's idea, concept of yoga. So more often it happens. If it is non-yogic teaching, no problem. But if it is un-yogic teaching, that means it is opposite, antagonizing, alien to precepts of Patanjali, then it's a matter of concern. So you can teach non-yogic aspects like physical exercise, remedy, pathy, but don't say it is yoga. You can help people by your teachings for their physical wellness, physical well-being, corporeal well-being, or psychological, mental, emotional well-being, wellness. No problem, but don't make them believe that that is yoga. So it should be included. The way Iyengar teachers are teaching, I will not make them outcast. You do it. It is perfect. You should be doing it, but you will have to do something more.
Which requires some study ourselves of the subject.
Yes, you have to study the
we can
tradition.
pass assessment without having, really even a shallow grasp of the meaning of the subject.
Yeah,
of what yoga is.
Correct. So there will be study, formal study. Formal study means you will just go to books and try to read books. No, that is not what I'm suggesting. There is much to hear about yoga. There is much to hear about yoga because all that will not come in a book. No book will tell you how to practice yoga. It will only tell you what is yoga. You open out Giranda Samhita, Shiva Samhita, or Goraksha Samhita, any book, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, it will tell you what yoga is. But how to learn, it is something that is in our tradition of yoga. And therefore, there is a lot to hear about what our predecessors were speaking about yoga. We have to hear about yoga a lot. That's why in my classes, the so-called classes, there is much to hear. So Shravanam, that's called Shravana Sadhana, which is so important because it is Adhyatma. It has timeless kind of tradition. And therefore, in different situations, scenarios, and times, what was spoken must be heard and not be so practical minded. It's not applicable today, so I will not hear, I will not think of it. We cannot be practical minded because yoga is eternal flow. It's not only for lifetime, it's a small frame. Our present life is just a small frame in our existence.
This makes me think of the morning classes, your morning classes, and the old gents who would be there. They had no intention, they had never had any idea that they were going to be yoga teachers, the Madhavans and the Punjabis and those people. And
because I did not teach them to give slightest kind of impetus to be becoming teachers. I was just trying to teach purely the subject. So there is much to hear, much to understand. How much we can practice is immaterial. First, we should know.
Those classes were something like the meeting in the Indian village where the bell rings in the evening and everyone comes over for some satsang, and whoever in the village knows the most would speak to the other people.
Correct. Satsang. So it is kind of satsang. We have to do a lot of satsang, and there is a lot of deficiency of satsang in our time yoga, 21st century yoga, 20th century yoga. There is lack of satsang, deficiency of satsanga. Arjuna was on the battlefield. Then what was instructed to him? Krishna did not say, go and put on a t-shirt and shorts and come. What is our idea of yoga? That we must have t-shirts and shorts, and then our yoga will commence. But he did not tell Arjuna, go put on a t-shirt and shorts and come here. But what did he instruct? If you look at the colophon of every chapter, iti mat Bhagavad Gita, so in Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, so it's an Upanishad, Brahma Vidyayam, it is Brahma Vidya, Yoga Shastre, it is Yoga Shastra, Krishna Arjuna Samvada, dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, so and so is the name of the chapter, first chapter, second chapter, third chapter. Every colophon, it is Brahma Vidya, it is Upanishad, and it is Yoga Shastra. So he was trying to impart something which is for not only battle time solutions for Arjuna. Actually, he was the greatest warrior. He did not need any instructions about battle or any training with regards to handling the weapons and using the weapons. He was well versed archer. Now, why did he need Krishna? And therefore, it is for conduct of life. Yoga, one of the connotation of yoga is not keep fit physically, mentally, but for conduct of life. So Bhagavad Gita is philosophy of conduct of life. And that was be instructed on the battlefield by Krishna. Now, Krishna had met Arjuna several times before the battle. They were together for several decades before they came up to the battle. But Krishna did not teach him any yoga shastra. So it was apt for him to teach Arjuna the Bhagavad Gita, the yoga form of Bhagavad Gita, or yoga in the form of Bhagavad Gita, when he had a internal battle. Because Arjuna had engaged himself in several battles before that final battle. It was not first and last battle. He had waged so many battles. Why did he not need? Why it is that he needed? So what was the background which comes in the first chapter? So Arjuna had a battle within him. Should I or should I not? Is it right or is it wrong? So until that time, he never had a question whether it is right or wrong. He waged hundreds of battles before that. But the question never came, is it right I am fighting or is it wrong I am fighting? It never occurred. It only occurred in the Kurukshetra battle. He had fought with his cousins even earlier. He had fought with a grandsire earlier. If you see the Virata Parva, in the Virata Parva, the third chapter of Mahabharata, he had engaged himself in battle with Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and then all the Kauravas. And wholeheartedly, he was in the battle and won the battle. Question did not come. Why was he in a weak condition on the Kurukshetra battle? That needed yoga. And that is why the instruction came to him from Krishna, which is philosophy of conduct of life. And unless we have battle with ourselves, real yoga doesn't start. I must have battle, you must have battle within yourself. Then the yoga comes. And what kind of battle?
In our state of ignorance, the common human condition, the state of ignorance, all of life is a battle. All of life, but that battle is always going on.
Correct. So your avidya should be alien to you. You have to feel that the kleshas are aliens and I have a problem with my kleshas. Not that I have got a clinical problem with the body and clinical problem with the mind and therefore I go for treatment. There is no treatment if there are no anti-kleshotics in medicine. So when you feel that your own tendencies, your own mind, your psyche consciousness, which is your major foe, and in the form of vasanas, tendencies, propensities, etc., then you will touch the real yoga. Having a battle with your own disease, yoga will not come. Having the battle with your own mind, yoga will not come. But having a battle with your mind, psyche, consciousness, for which you cannot get remedy outside. That's called bhava roga. That is called bhava roga. The disease in the form of bondage, disease in the form of our existence here. So Arjuna had that problem, and therefore he was confused, confounded, and Bhagavad Gita came to him then. So Arjuna, after the battle, when he was totally relaxed, he said, "Oh, come on, Krishna, please give me a resume of your Bhagavad Gita. I am not in a quiet and composed mind. Let me hear it out once again." But Krishna flatly refused. He said, "No chance. I won't give now. I will not repeat." Because the whole scenario has changed. Now he said, "I'm comfortable, I'm easy, now I'm relaxed. I want to hear what you said." He said, "No, no chance." But and then he gave a form of Gita which is called Anugita, which comes later in Mahabharata. Anugita. He said, "I won't repeat Bhagavad Gita. Anyway, because I can just give you some resume of it, but it will not be the same. Because Krishna was electrified to give the message. Arjuna was electrified to receive the message on the battle. And therefore, Krishna refused. He said, I won't repeat the 18 chapters. I won't give all the Bhagavad Gita that I gave you. However, I will give you some highlights of it. So he gives some highlights of Gita discourses later in Mahabharata, which is called Anu Gita. Anu means secondary. So secondary Gita comes, but with a disclaimer, I won't do it. I won't do it now. And even before Bhagavad Gita, he could have chatted with Arjuna and give him the wisdom. They were companions for several decades before the battle. On the battlefield, the age was something. Arjuna's age was 80. 80 years old, Arjuna. Krishna was furthermore aged. So before that, Krishna and Arjuna could have casually, informally talked over. That never happened. Krishna only gave this wisdom at an opportune time. That is worth considering. Because if we thought Arjuna is fit person, capable person, qualified person, deserving person, he could have done earlier. He did not do it. Opportune time has to come. So that it's a proper scenario, then the things are properly assimilated. See, I should feed you when you are hungry, dead hungry. I should not be feeding you when you are sumptuously eaten and full belly up to the throat you are eaten. There is no point in feeding you. So it should be needed. And Arjuna needed on Dharmakshetra battlefield, and therefore it was given and not before. So similarly, yoga has to be learned out of life process. It's not learning on a mat. What is the idea of the yoga today? You must get onto the mat first. And you must be having t-shirts and shorts. Now that is one aspect of yoga, but then at some stage you have to understand yoga is meant for life. It must be learned from life conditions and it should be for life conditions. That is really yoga. That's why Bhagavad Gita is a yoga shastra. And the best yoga shastra, complete yoga shastra is Bhagavad Gita. Patanjali treatise on the philosophical dimension of yoga. Darshanic dimension of yoga, Patanjali has penned it. But the whole of yoga, because what you get in Shiva Samhita, Girana Samhita, practical aspects, you don't get in Patanjali. Patanjali doesn't speak about asanas. How much I diverge on asanas, where Patanjali doesn't do that explicitly. There are only 4 sutras on asanas. So his framework is darshana, philosophical system. Bhagavad Gita doesn't have that frame. Girana Samhita, Shiva Samhita, Shiva Swarodaya, Siddha Siddhanta Paddhati, they don't have that frame of what Patanjali had the frame. And therefore, all those texts divulge different things. So how significant is the wisdom of the Lord? If the Upanishad precepts are insignificant in what you are teaching, that means you have to understand as a teacher, no, something is not going right. May not be going wrong, but something is not going right. And therefore, we have to have the scrutiny and have necessary reformations in our processes. See, what is the purpose of Upanishads? There are those 200 Upanishads. What is the purpose of Upanishads in the yoga that we are teaching today? Where do you need Vedanta in the yoga that we are teaching today? Where do you need Sankhya in yoga that we are teaching today? Where do you need Dharma in the yoga that we are teaching today? Right leg out, left foot in, harden, tighten, straighten, pull, push, inhale, exhale, bend, rotate. Where is that coming? So that means we are missing something which is so vital, so essential, so quintessential. Now that should not happen over after a period of time. As a beginner, as a teacher, it might happen, but not throughout. So somewhere we must be critical about our teachings and then figure out, does Adhyatma come in our teachings? Does Dharma come in our teachings? Does the Upanishads and the essence of Upanishads, which is Bhagavad Gita, does it come in our teachings? Patanjali Yoga Sutras, are they coming in our teachings? With the yoga that is taught by any teacher today, certified, maybe senior most, highest hierarchy, what is the purpose of third chapter and fourth chapter and first chapter in their teaching? They say just say sadhan path, Ashtanga Yoga. Patanjali is not just Ashtanga Yoga uh, propounder, expounder. So much of yoga has come in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, but many of them do not know what is the matter in the third chapter and fourth chapter and first chapter. Nothing to do with the sutras there. They are not relevant in what we are teaching. If that is the case, year after year after year, decade after decade after decade, something is not right. Something may not be wrong, or all that you are doing may not be wrong. Nothing may be wrong. But if you are missing the right, something needs to be done there. That's why I'm giving education about yoga. And therefore, so many things become relevant. All our Puranas, whatever the matter in Puranas, become so relevant. The concept of Kala, the metaphysics, where is it relevant? Why will the problem of Kala, which we discussed on 2 sessions, why will that at all come on the anvil? If you are going to teach Tadasana, Trikonasana, Ardhachandrasana, Virabhadrasana, Shirshasana, Urdhvanurasana, Viparit somebody asked the question yesterday on Parinama. So the Dharma Lakshana Avastha Parinama, where does it come? Why do we need, if you are going to teach yoga, the very formal Iyengar yoga, where do you need paranamas? Guruji did speak about paranamas. So much of Guruji's yoga is outside light on yoga. That's why if you know the recently, after our centenary meeting, I redrafted the certificate. It used to say based on light on yoga and light on pranayam. Teachings certified to teach yoga based on light on yoga and light on pranayam. I said, no, that should not be the case. Much of Guruji's yoga was outside light on yoga, light on pranayam. And therefore, that is now deleted. If you see your own certificate, certified to teach Iyengar yoga at such and such level, the course based on light on yoga and light on pranayam. Because at that time, because at some stage, there was only light on yoga, light on pranayam by him. Other lights were not available. And then he's teaching outside the class. Much of yoga came in library. You all have visited library and sat with Guruji. What did he teach on the mat? And what were you trying to get from him in a library setting when he was so soft spoken across the table? But in the class, he was a roaring lion. So much of our Guruji's yoga, it should be traced outside his teaching of 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, etc., which we have not done. Much of yoga, essential yoga, quintessential yoga, vital yoga lies not in class. I say many things cannot be taught in class. And that's why I had to change my format of teaching. I said, this is, I'm telling you, which cannot be taught in class. That's why I have distinguished between Iyengar yoga and Iyengar's yoga. Should you not be interested in Iyengar's yoga when you are veteran of 30, 20, 30, 40, 50 years? Why are you interested in Iyengar yoga, which any Tom, Dick, and Harry is interested to know what is Iyengar yoga, goes to a studio, goes to a teacher and learns something, and what is construed something for physical wellness, physical well-being, even light on yoga, what is construed, this is remedial. If you have some problems, light on yoga comes handy. That light on yoga content comes handy. Any problem, so ulcer to cancer, you can tackle. That's how people are looking at it. But that is not what is Iyengar's yoga. Why did he practice? Not that he was suffering from ulcer to cancer and therefore he practiced yoga. Why are you teaching yoga? You are going for suffering people and then you are trying to teach them this will cure your problem. So it is misconstrued, the light on yoga itself. So it is for physical wellness, mental wellness. Somebody says, I have mental turmoil, emotional instability, or haywire, emotions going haywire, mind going haywire. I want some solution. It's a psychological problem. It's a peripheral mind problem. So the kleshas don't come, which are at a deep, unfathomable depth of your problems. So we are trying to clip something peripheral surface. So teachers must become students of subject of yoga. It is not good just being students of Guruji who taught in the classes. You should be a student of Guruji's yoga, not the yoga that he teaches in a class, in a workshop, in a intensive 3 days, 5 days. How can you cover all that in 3 days and 4 days and a week, etc.? Anything you want to ask about what we have spoken?
How does a teacher, or is it even the teacher's responsibility, prepare the students for the real subject? Because
Yeah, true.
students don't come for that necessarily.
Yeah, but those who are coming over a long period of time, somebody is interested in doing 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So slowly start putting this aspect. Don't just teach the student, teach the subject. So there are two things. In school, the children are taught by the teachers. But in universities, higher education, subject is taught. If you don't understand, that is your problem. But in a school, primary school, if the student doesn't understand, it's a problem to a teacher. But in a university, if the students don't understand, it is not a problem with the professor, it's a problem with the students. Go get behind him, try to get any clarifications, etc. So you have to be subject of the students, subject rather. You should be student of the subject and not student of a person. All through and through. Initially, yes, you are a student of a so and so per teacher. But later, the teacher has its responsibility to slowly give small doses, not mega doses, magna doses of theory of yoga, culture of yoga, background of yoga, purpose of essential yoga. It may not be useful for your practical life, but it is meant for something in you. So somebody comes for 10 years and you are only teaching right leg up, left foot in, harden, tighten, bend, flex. It is not proper. For first initial few weeks and months and years, you will teach that way, or posture. You will teach the breath, inhalation, exhalation. But now I have so often said in the class, it is not inhalation, exhalation with which we are dealing. Because inhalation is Oxygen coming in, exhalation is carbon dioxide going out. We deal with oxygen coming in and carbon dioxide going out. It is such a resourceful agency, the breath. Inside it does so many things. If your inhalation is working in the belly, it is not oxygenating the belly. If the exhalation is working on the belly, it is not decarbon dioxiding the belly. So it is teacher's responsibility to slowly introduce them to subject and not only go on striking the purpose with which they have come. They will come with a purpose. I've got chronic headache, chronic stomachache, chronic backache, and they will come with those problems. But the life is beyond the problems. And therefore, as a teacher, it is responsibility of the teacher to slowly show them other aspects in life rather than the nagging problem, maybe pronounced problem. But because despite the problem, we go to sleep. Despite the problem, we go to operas. Despite the problem, we go to movies. Nobody says, I have chronic stomachaches, therefore I have never gone to movie, never gone to opera, never gone to concert, never gone to recreation. No, you go to so many things. That is not solving your problem, yet you are going there. Opera doesn't solve your problem of stomachache, yet you go there. Movies don't solve your problem of stomachache, yet you go there. Why not then go to subject of yoga? So that's how the teachers have to convince the students to become students of the subject and not just clients of a teacher who is working like a therapist or maybe a physician or maybe a yogic surgeon. But the problems are, life is beyond these problems as well. So yoga should be introduced at right opportune point in time. I won't say somebody comes on the first day, you start atha yoga anushasanam chitta vritti nirodha. You ask him why the person has come. Okay, cater him. But slowly also see that you administer this subject of yoga at opportune point in time. Prepare him to become fit for that. The other day I was asking someone, when you have certificates, you are certified to teach. But then critically find out, are you qualified to teach? So you should be qualified to be teaching as well. Just by having a certificate, you just are certified to teach. You'll have to prepare yourself to be qualified to teach in the sense of the term as it would mean. If you are certified, doesn't mean you are qualified. If you think I am qualified to teach, I am not certified. I don't have certificate. So if I am qualified, I am not certified. And therefore, there are many who are certified but not qualified. So why not close this difference and the parity? So you'll have to subjectively interrogate yourself, assess yourself. Yes, I am certified. Am I qualified? If I am not qualified, what should I do? You will have to be students of subject of yoga. That it is a philosophy, it's philosophy of conduct of life, it is metaphysics, it is metapsychics, it is science of universe. Why Patanjali has brought Surya Samyavat Bhuvana Jnanam? What have we got to do with Bhuvana Jnanam? That is whole knowledge of the cosmos. If you are dealing with Chitta Vritti Nirodha, because we are part of cosmos, it is important to know what the cosmos is. And it is all embedded in you also, which we don't identify. We think we are only stuffed with liver, stomach, colon, bladder, heart, lung, etc. We are also stuffed with so many esoteric aspects, and therefore it is very relevant. Surya Samyamat Bhuvana Jnanam. Why should you know 14 planes of creation? Because they are embedded in you and they are influencing you. Anyway, so becoming students of yoga is of paramount importance.
And I think something to the answer to Susan's question is also to start to investigate what are we really supposed to be doing when we are in an asana. At the first weeks, all we are supposed to be doing is making sure that the knee is in a certain position, the spine is in a certain position. But there's a time when you stay in some yoga pose for 5 minutes. Some of the things you can stay in, Supta Konasana or what's it, Shirshasana or whatever. There's something more that has to be done there rather than just the body position. And the nervous system has to start being treated, and the brain has to being treated and corrected, and the mind has to start being corrected. And we all just stick to this idea that you just keep telling them over and over again that their knee is supposed to be in a perpendicular position and all of that. And it's just
very true. You see, just to stay has a lot of philosophical purport. If you want to meet, you meet so many people, you have met so many people in your lifetime, countless, hundreds and thousands and millions. But would you like to stay with all of them? If you stay with any one of them, what will happen to you? So it's not just doing an asana. When you are doing an asana, well, it's limited. You come and meet Prashant and for a minute or two or 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, then go away. But suppose I come to stay in your life, then what? So when you are staying in asana, it's not a posture. It is much more than that. So stay is understood in a limited context, chronological time. And that's why I say any asana is not just a posture, breathasture, and mindasture. So for this, by way of education, I've diverged. Postures cannot be equated to asanas. Asana is not equal to posture. Posture is not equal to asana. Posture plus breathasture plus mindasture can be an asana at our hierarchy. So you have to stay there. When you are staying there, it's a different posture, breathasture, mindasture. If you do Padmasana for 10 seconds, you can identify the posture. Where will you identify breathasture of 10 seconds Padmasana? Where will you identify mindasture of 10 seconds Padmasana? But if you decide to stay 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you will be introduced to those realms. And then you will realize it is difficult negotiation, and it is more complex, complicated, and depth, enormous depth. And that's why to stay in asana has enormous meaning, not just chronological time. Because we really don't stay chronologically when we say, I'm doing 10 minutes Shirshasana. You were doing Shirshasana for 10 minutes. You were not in Shirshasana for 10 minutes. You were doing something somewhere all the time. Some correction, some improvement, some adjustment. Where did you stay in Shirshasana? What is meant by stay? So that I have diverged in the book, Chitta Vijnana of Yogasanas. What is the proposal to stay? What is then meant by maintenance? You have to maintain an asana is different than staying. And when we stay in asana, 10 minutes of Shirshasana, we have been modifying 10,000 times our Shirshasana. From fingers to toes, we are modifying 10,000 times in 10 minutes. So it is doing. Doing Shirshasana for 10 minutes is one thing. But the 10 minutes timing of Shirshasana is another thing. Something is persisting. So that's the thing, that you will meet millions of people, but with how many people would you stay? You will stay with just one person. Or you would like to stay with one person, not with every one that you have come across. So asanas are just doing and doing and doing, undoing, doing, undoing, doing, undoing, and go on doing 101 asanas in 1 hour and 2 hours. So staying, maintaining. So these are the stages which one has to undergo in a process of handling an asana. That's why I try to formalize the process in my book on Chitta Vijnana of Yogasanas, Ashtadasha Mahakriyas of Yogasanas. So for 10 minutes of Shirshasana, where you correcting, adjusting, improving, evolving, or spike up and down qualitatively in Shirshasana for 10 minutes, or were you static in 10 for 10 minutes? Nowhere we are static for 10 minutes. So at least try to be static for a minute to start with. For a minute, let me be static in the shoulder, not handle, not touch, not dabble, not interfere, not adjust. So put it in a condition they don't have to adjust and stay that you persist for at least a minute. Why do you run to 10 minutes of Shirshasana when you have not done the timing of 1 minute? Legs together, 1 minute, buttocks tight, 1 minute, open chest. But people say, claim, I have done 45 minutes Shirshasana. So anyway, much has to be heard about what really asanas are. See, there are certain things, unless you do, you don't know. Swimming, you have to fall in the water, then you will know, you will learn swimming. You can't say, I will first learn swimming on floor. Let me learn the strokes of swimming on my bed. Then I go into the water. No, there are certain things you have to fall into water, learn swimming. But there are certain things you'll have to learn first and then do it. If you are to work in laboratory, you'll have to educate yourself, learn yourself about chemistry, and then only enter the laboratory. You do not know any chemistry, you cannot be going into the lab. You do not know swimming, but you have to fall in water. You have to enter the water. Without entering the water, you will not swim. Learn swimming. So there are certain things which you have to do and then learn, but there are certain things first you have to learn and then do. Say getting married and having a family life, you'll have to first get married. Then only you'll start figuring out what is a family life. You can't say, first I will take theoretically learn family life and then I will get married. That doesn't happen that way. You'll have to become parents and then know what is being a parent. You can't say, first let me have training of being a parent and then become a parent. It doesn't happen that way. You cannot be taught to be a parent before you are a parent. Similarly, these are the things, certain things you have to know, some stage of yoga, some facet of yoga, you have to know, and then you will do. And then you will do and learn. But there are certain things you'll have to do. Like a beginner comes to class, make him Tadasana, make him stand in Tadasana, make him do, and then he will learn. Any asana, you can't say, first I will learn asana, theoretically, Kukudasana, Parshkukudasana, Kadlasana, Hanumanasana, I will, and then I will do. It's not possible. It's not like, it is totally unlike swimming. Swimming, fall in water, be in water, and now learn the strokes. Here, similarly, we will have to be in an asana, Tadasana, etc., and then learn Tadasana. You can't say, first give me a long description, purpose, dynamics, process of Tadasana. Let me hear it out and then do it. No. That's a beginners will make them do. And then slowly make them learn what is Tadasana, why Tadasana, in nuances of Tadasana, implications of Tadasana, intricacies of Tadasana. You can't explain intricacies, etc., right in the beginning and then say, now get onto the mat and stand up, or get onto the floor and stand up. We make them stand. There is so much to put across, so much to put across, so much to be heard. People are not prepared to hear about yoga. This is not done. This is satsanga. A lot to hear, a lot to know before it gets into your system of practices.
Thank you. Anything else, Lee, that you want to ask?
No, I have some thoughts about tying what we usually do in practice or in class into the philosophy. And I want to work on that, and I want to write some kind of things up. But, I think that, for example, sir, if people look at Vyasa's commentary on 2.28, and he gives the 9 causes.
Yeah.
And only two of those causes are the applicable causes in
True.
yoga.
Correct.
And that is acquisition of something toward viveka khyati and eradication of the impurities. Those are the
Correct.
only two causes that
Correct.
apply. And so we should think some way about how can we just even superficially present, not you superficially, because you don't do anything superficially, but for those of us who could
Yeah,
only
right.
deal at the superficial level, how we could introduce people in the classes or in the satsangas or whatever to those two things and ask them to ask themselves, is what you are doing while you're in the asana, is that applicable to the acquisition of some state toward viveka khyati, and is it applicable to the eradication or the separation that happens in the
True, very
cutting
true.
off of the impurities, like the axe cuts the branch. Isn't that how the
Correct.
analogy goes? No.
Yeah. Very true. Whether Patanjali's book is a health science or philosophical book.
Mhm.
Is it a book on philosophy or is it health science book? So what yoga are we doing? We are trying to cater yoga, which is an aspect of health science. So therefore, there is nothing wrong, but it is insufficient. And it is not right for a person who pursues for years and years and decades, because many of the Iyengar practitioners are practicing for decades, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years. So it cannot be catering a health science, something like that, that is good for health. Yes, it should be good for health. It is good for health, but that is not be all and end all of you. Patanjali's yoga. So it is never considered as a health book or wellness book. It is not wellness book and well-being book. It's a philosophical book. Philosophy means it diverges reality. It must tell you what you are, then what you feel about yourself. So philosophy is that which diverges reality, which I've spoken in my Saturday sessions earlier. So philosophy diverges reality. Religion makes us experience the reality. That's what the concept of philosophy and religion is. Religion is not right word. There's no word for that in English. Dharma. It is achara dharma niti. Dharma means it helps you divulge realities, experience realities, and philosophy divulges realities. It tells you what is reality, and through dharma of yoga, you will experience the reality. So where is the health science? Patanjali's book will never come as health science. Go in a library cataloging. Nowhere Patanjali's book will come as health science book. But pick up any today's book in yoga, it can easily go into health science book. So there's nothing wrong, but not everything right.
Mhm.
That is circumscribed: physical wellness, mental wellness, temporary wellness, or lifetime wellness. It is all included. That's not the radius of it. Radius is far greater, encompassing so many things about human life, human existence. So see, much to hear. You can hear several sessions like that. And there is much to hear about it. Otherwise, the proper motivation will not set in. All of us are motivated to do yoga, but is the motivation right and sumptuous and comprehensive? I won't say any Iyengar yoga is not practicing without motivation. Motivation is there. That's why dharma. Chodana lakshano artho dharma. I gave the definition from Imam. You should be rightly motivated. For you to be rightly motivated, you have to hear a lot about wisdom.
We're very grateful for this.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you for tuning in to On the Light. Stay with us as we continue to unfold the life's work of BKS Iyengar and the auspicious subject of yoga. Today, I leave you with this passage from page 68 of Light on Life. Here, Guruji says, whether we are talking about the outermost sheath or this interior one, we are always bringing the light of awareness. Prana is always involved in carrying that light of awareness, only now we are consciously generating and directing it. In yoga philosophy, both energy, prana, and consciousness, chitta, are considered to evolve directly out of cosmic intelligence, Mahat. Mahat is the universal intelligence of nature. The rocks have universal intelligence, every leaf has it, every cell of every creature has it. It is all pervasive and infinite. The genius of nature's intelligence is self-expression. That is why nature is infinitely varied, infinitely inventive. Prana is our link to this infinite intelligence. What a shame it is that we have such access and ignore its use and development. We are like someone with a vast fortune locked in a numbered bank account who forgets the number and so must scrape by in poverty. We live within our individual consciousness with its limited intelligence, often feeling lonely and puny, when there is a conduit available directly to cosmic consciousness and intelligence. Through this conduit flows prana, joining each individual among us to the highest original principle of nature. Pranayama is about restoring this conduit so that the intelligence bearing the energy of the macrocosm can illuminate our microcosm. That's all for today. Until next time, shine bright.